Hello everyone, this is Daniel and welcome to part 15 of this character creation tutorial. So today we'll work on this part here. Before that, I really think that we don't need these details after all on the body, so I'm just going very quickly into the sculpt mode for the body, and I'll just smooth these away if I can. Let me try to do that. Just with a very large brush over this till it's all gone. And let me just see if we didn't lose too much volume here. It looks fine. Yeah, I think that's okay. We have a little bit of a rough surface there because of it, but nothing that a bit more smoothing can't solve. There we go. I'll do that with texturing at a later point, so I didn't like having it there. That's one thing. Also, I noticed that in the last part I had the normals wrong, so we had some weird shading here. So just select this all and hit Shift N if you have an issue. That will fix your shading as well. Now let's move on to probably the most difficult part here. I want to begin with this lower part, make this first, and then we'll move on to the rest. And maybe we'll do the belt first as well. These are just two things I want to quickly touch upon. So to get started, let us create a copy of this, and then we'll go into edit mode, actually apply the modifier first, then go into edit mode and just delete everything except for this little part over there. That's all I really wanted here. And this is what we're going to start to work with. I'm just going to scale it up a little bit, like this, scale it a bit along the, or move this down maybe a bit further. And I'm just going to start to create this shape from reference. I'm looking at the reference on my other screen at the moment, and I see that there's a little bit of a, curvature here, and then we have these parts sticking out. So we'll try to do that here now. Maybe just bevel this edge to give it a bit of a curvature. Check if the other side looks fine as well. And then we should be able to just extrude these edges. Can we do... let's see. How would we do this? Extrude all of them downwards, just like this. Then then select all this, extrude it. Where is the setting? Alright, you know what? Undo that quickly. Do the inset operation, inset faces, and then switch to individual. So this is what I actually wanted. Now I'm going to hit Alt S to scale it outwards, and then I'm going to switch here to individual origins and scale until it all comes down to tip. Something like this. And then let's just quickly select this entire loop and delete all faces. Now these, we won't need them anymore as well. So this is the bottom. Would have been nice to also do that on the top as well, but let's just do it now. So I filled it this time, now I'm extruding it upwards. Now let's select all the faces around here, inset them all. Now scale them with Alt S along their normal. Then I'll scale them down. And finally, we can just delete all the unnecessary faces. Delete all the faces here, and delete these as well. There we go. So this is already close to what we have here, but we need to do some additional work. For example, go in and here another loop. Furthermore, maybe we are a bit too... yeah, we need to switch back to median point here, by the way. Maybe we can just scale these a bit down after all and move them a bit further down. Change the angle here. We could, add a loop to all of these so that we can improve the curvature of this section a little bit. Just like that, just a tiny bit. That looks a bit smoother now. Furthermore, if you look carefully, this has a little bit of a thickness to it. So what I want to do is go to the edge, double click on the edge with Alt held down, and then we'll extrude it with E and just give it some thickness. Actually, you know what? I think a better method of doing this is select this entire part in with the faces, then extrude, and then hit Alt S. Scale it down. Okay, I'm sorry. We need to do it a little bit differently. Undo that again. Make a copy, Shift D, and then hit Alt S to kind of set it inwards a bit further. Give it quite some thickness because this is a stylized character. It will have a little bit of a stylized proportions. And then I'm just filling all these in by selecting one of these edges and hitting F. That will kind of create a quad around here. And if at the tip this is still a bit too thick, just go ahead and select all these edges in the back. And then while looking from the front view, or like here, around here, hit G twice, and let's try to slide them all upwards. Okay, it doesn't seem to work all at once, so we have to do it. Doesn't even seem to work. 2 here, let's choose these. Yeah, okay, so maybe we have to do these one at a time. Just want to slide it forward, so hit G twice and that lets you slide it. Let's just try to make it roughly the same. And there we go. 2 more. So now it's done. Finally, if you want, you can select this inner loop and just extrude it one more time and scale it down a bit, just to close it off nicely. We'll do something similar on top, but we have an additional a little bit of detail up here to think about. So we could try to do that by, first of all, let's see, what's a good way? Select the entire thing again, extrude and scale up. We will have to move it up a little bit as well. Something like this. It should look like an extension. Also, I do want to have a loop cut in all of these. This will give us a little bit more control over the shape, which we will need in this case. Now, this is going to be a bit of a hassle, but I want to do something like this for all of them, but it's kind of hard to do this accurately. Let me think if there's any trick that I can use. Well, for starters, let's undo that quickly. For starters, let's select this this here, or let's insert a loop here and scale it down a little bit further to give it a nice curvature around here. Then just go ahead and select these two and scale them up. I guess that's a more consistent approach. Select these two, scale them up a bit. Select these two, scale them up a bit. So that's the first step that I'll take here. And then we'll do one more round with one more operation. I'm trying to think always about various methods, approaches that I can take to reduce the amount of time that I spent doing repetitive tasks. So I'm going to move this up a little bit next. To improve the flow a little bit. And also I think I will have to just select these two manually and move them down a little bit further, or at least where it's necessary. This stuff doesn't have to be super accurate, but you can probably tell like where it's necessary to change it a little bit to make it a bit smoother, and where it isn't, just make it a little bit nicer to flow. Alright, and with this now done, we can now do something similar as before. I'm just going to select this entire upper part. Yeah, I'm hitting C, by the way, for circular select, and I can just click and drag and then right click to accept. Then I'm going to make a copy of this, Alt S to like extrude it inwards a little bit, and then once again create a face here with F, and then select this edge and just hold F until it's all filled in to the other side. Finally, for this little edge that we have, I'm going to select all of these and just extrude them out. Can also maybe smooth it a little bit. That doesn't seem to work too nicely, so maybe select instead this edge, hit G twice, and then select this edge and hit G twice. This will also give us a nice effect. And I'll furthermore select this edge, shift it a little bit downwards, insert a new edge here, and hit Alt S to create kind of a step. You can see what I'm doing here. Now here comes a bit of a question. Will this still look good if we add subdivision surface to this? And let's try it. Now one thing that you will want to do is select everything and hit Shift N. So that will fix some of the artifacts that we had. We had to recalculate the normals here. And furthermore, I think we have to crease some of our edges. So I'm going to select all of these here, and probably the ones below as well. All of these, the ones at the top. And finally these here. Not the one in the center. I selected something wrong here. Be careful about that maybe. Finally these here. And you know what would have been easier probably? No, actually I couldn't do that. Alright, let's pick these here as well. I don't think there was a very quick way to do that, so I'm just going to select them. Actually, there was an easy way. So I could have just selected one and then held Control and selected something further away. But anyway. Or I could just... yeah, never mind. That wasn't the most efficient way of doing it, but it doesn't take too much time as well. So I'm just going to spend some more time selecting all the edges that I want to crease. And we'll also have to select the ones that are in here. Be careful to select the right one. So these are now all selected, and then the tip, we are missing a few more. And that should be everything I need. So now hit Shift E and just crease, give it a bit of a crease it up a little bit. I'm also going to maybe crease this ring here, and maybe we should just add this as well, because I don't think it... actually, what happens if I don't do this? Yeah, you know what? I think we should have left this as it was. Then we'll get a nicer rounder shape all around. So Shift E, reduce the creasing here, and that looks already a lot better. Maybe something is going wrong here. This part looks a bit strange. Or maybe that's just what it is supposed to be like. Let me just confirm if I don't have any weird geometry by hitting F3, or actually no, hit M and then merge by distance. So there wasn't any issue with that. Otherwise, I think we could increase. Okay, we should have worked with a little bit more resolution on a second thought, so let's see if we can fix this still. I'm going to insert loop cuts right around this entire part, and then I'll try to select all these rings here. Maybe let's select one and go to select and go to select loops, rings. This will select everything all around, and let's see just what happens if we hit in our loop tools that we activated from the add-on. Let's hit relax, and that really improved things quite a lot. So that was a very smart move, I think. I'll just decrease the amount of creasing over, like generally. I think it was a bit too strong, and maybe that's good enough. I do like to make this a bit thinner if possible. Let's select all of these edges here. And just scale them up a little bit. Yeah, but as you can see, character modeling is not always as straightforward as you would think. There's usually a lot of problem solving involved in this task, in this profession. So don't be too disappointed when things don't go according to plan all the time, and just, you know, spend some time figuring things out, try some different methods. Sometimes you'll waste some time, but that's just normal, I would say. Yeah, I do want a bit more thickness after all in here, so I'm just going to inflate the lower part a bit, maybe scale it down as well. This we can just shift along. Alright, that looks a bit nicer. That from a distance, you know, it doesn't seem strange. Actually, the part at the top feels a bit strange, so I'm just going to select inner region again and hit Alt S again. Maybe we can scale it down a bit here. Just give it a bit of additional thickness. And maybe move it down in this direction a bit more. Just felt it was a bit too hard, this edge, or a bit too fine, the detail. So I'm trying to, could try to just smooth the entire thing a tiny bit. And actually that doesn't look too bad. Alright, I think I'll leave it like this. Actually, I think we need to change one more thing. These edges here seem a bit too pointy. I think in the design this is a bit more rounded. So I can go in like this and just fix it all up a bit if I want. Let me just see if I like that. It does look better. It's okay, I think we have to do that quickly. So I thought we'd get further with this part, but I think for this video this is going to be all we'll do for this part, just because I don't want to do too much at once, so that you have a good chance to follow along. Personally, I feel parts like this are a bit of a hassle. They're not very fun because they're not so major. They seem really simple, but they are complex, so they're a bit deceiving, but it will be rewarding in the end when everything comes together. So good luck with that, and I think I'm done now. We have additionally like some buttons on here. We could quickly create this in a separate, or we could even do it in here. So let's hit Shift S, cursor to selected, and add a cube. I'll scale the cube down all the way, and then I'll subdivide it once with right click and then subdivide. Then I'll smooth it by 1, give it a few iterations, repeat that a couple of times, scale it up again, that just gives us, you know, a nice sphere-like thing, and that's going to be one additional detail that we have here. We do have to make it a bit thinner though, so maybe before we rotate it, let's scale it down like this and then align it after that. If it is not shaded smooth, just go to object mode and right click and shade smooth one more time, then it should be fine. And now we'll quickly make one more round and just paste this to all sides. Just hit Shift D to duplicate as always, and soon enough you'll have this on all sides. Yeah, this is a bit of a more repetitive task after all, but seems to be a good way to do it. Sometimes good not to do everything like in perfect patterns, because your characters do need to have a little bit of a natural feel. If everything is too accurate, then it can feel very mechanic and artificial. Maybe that's not what you want. There we go. 3 more, I believe. 1. You'll need to move around your camera and look at this from various angles in order to figure out where the geometry currently is. Here's the second one, and then the third one. Last but not least. Yeah, let's just be happy that this is the most that it doesn't get a lot more complicated than this in this character design. Like, some designs are way more complicated. So I think this is still on the good side. I'm just going to delete this actually. I do want this to be a bit more of a visible like border all around. So here's some last adjustments just to make it a bit sharper in these regions. And that looks good now. Yeah, you know, I think I'm never going to be satisfied. There's one last thing I'm kind of regretting. I should have, from the beginning, thought more about the angle of this. I feel like they're a bit too flat. It's not very visible from the front, so I think it would be a good idea if we went in here one more time and if we adjusted these angles a little bit. Bring these up. Not all of them, just the ones here on the outside. In the inside here, they're fine. But on this side here, we need to make them point up a little bit further. Just trying to use my camera perspective effectively to align my transformations to the right direction, and something like this should be good. I think that's a lot better now. Let me just think quickly. Yes, that's fine. So I hope you like you like the look of all of this. Maybe let's change the color for this one. I'll just click on this button here to unlink the material. I think we have a little bit of a desaturated darker color here. This is sort of what I'm seeing. And there we go. Part 1 of the legs is complete. I hope you were able to follow along with this one, and I hope you liked what everything currently looks like. And in the next part, we'll look at the belt maybe first. We'll see. And next part, I'll tell you. So I'm looking forward to it. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you soon.